The first sign that something unknown was moving through the deep ocean did not come from a dramatic encounter or a glowing creature on a camera feed. It came as a disturbance in the data, a pattern that did not fit what scientists expected to see. Thousands of meters below the surface, where sunlight has never reached and pressure crushes steel like paper, the deep ocean usually behaves in predictable ways. Temperature layers remain stable, chemical signatures shift slowly, and life, though strange, follows known biological rules. But this time, the sensors recorded movement that felt deliberate, fast, and purposeful in a place where nothing that size should move that way. The deep ocean is not empty. It never has been. It is a vast living system that covers more than half of Earth's surface. Yet humans have seen less of it than the surface of the moon. Every expedition reveals something unfamiliar. New jellyfish, translucent shrimp, bioluminescent worms, ghostly octopuses that seem to appear and disappear like hallucinations. But a new fish is different. Fish are among the best studied animals in the ocean, at least in relative terms. They have bones, muscles, organs, eyes, fins. They swim in ways we recognize. When a truly new fish is discovered, especially in the deep ocean, it means our understanding of vertebrate life itself has a gap. This particular discovery began in near silence. A remotely operated vehicle descended slowly through layers of water that grew colder and darker with every meter. The last traces of blue light faded, replaced by blackness so complete it felt physical. The vehicle's lights cut a narrow tunnel through the dark, illuminating particles drifting like underwater snow. At around 4,000 meters, the seafloor came into view. It was not flat, but broken, scarred by ridges and trenches shaped by tectonic forces older than humanity. For hours, the cameras recorded nothing unusual. Sea cucumbers crawled slowly across the sediment. Brittle stars clung to rocks. Small, pale fish hovered just above the bottom, conserving energy in a world where food is scarce and every movement has a cost. Then, at the edge of the camera frame, something moved against the current instead of with it at first. The operators assumed it was a known species seen from a strange angle. This happens often in deep-sea exploration. The lack of visual reference points can distort size and distance, making familiar animals look alien. But as the creature moved fully into the light, that explanation began to fail. The body shape was wrong. The proportions were wrong. The movement was wrong. It was a fish, unmistakably so, but built unlike any fish previously documented at that depth. Its body was elongated but thick, not eel-like, with a muscular core that suggested bursts of speed rather than slow drifting. The skin appeared smooth, almost gelatinous, yet reinforced by subtle ridges running along its sides. These ridges caught the light in a way that hinted at internal structures beneath the surface, possibly modified scales or something entirely new. The head was the most unsettling part. The skull was broad, with a mouth that opened wider than expected, revealing teeth that were not sharp like those of a predator near the surface, but blunt, conical, and widely spaced. Teeth like these are not for slicing. They are for gripping, crushing, or holding on to prey that struggles violently. The eyes were small, recessed, and almost vestigial, suggesting that vision played only a minor role in how this animal experienced its world. Instead, the fish seemed to navigate using something else. Along the sides of its head and body, faint lines glowed briefly as it turned. Not bioluminescence in the classic sense, not a steady glow or a flashing signal, but a subtle, almost electrical shimmer. Scientists watching the live feed noticed it immediately. This was not light being produced for communication or camouflage. It looked more like a side effect of sensing, as if the fish was mapping its surroundings in a way humans could barely comprehend in the deep ocean. Where light is absent, many animals rely on senses that feel almost supernatural to us. Pressure changes, chemical gradients, vibrations traveling through water. Sharks and rays use electroreception to detect the faint electrical fields produced by muscle contractions and other animals. This fish appeared to possess a version of that sense taken to an extreme, possibly tuned to work in total darkness and immense pressure dot as the vehicle followed at a careful distance. The fish did not flee. It did not display curiosity either. It moved with calm certainty, changing direction only when it encountered obstacles or detected something ahead. At one point, it stopped entirely, hovering motionless just above the seafloor. The sediment beneath it remained undisturbed, suggesting precise control over its fins and buoyancy. Then it struck. A small crustacean, barely visible against the dark sediment, made the mistake of moving. In less than a second, the fish lunged forward, mouth opening and closing in a single smooth motion. There was no chase, no hesitation. The prey vanished. The fish resumed its slow, deliberate movement as if nothing had happened. This single action revealed volumes about its biology. Speed in the deep ocean is rare. Energy is precious, and most deep-sea animals evolve to conserve it. To move quickly, even briefly, requires powerful muscles and a metabolism capable of supporting them. That, in turn, requires access to reliable food sources, something thought to be extremely limited at such depths. The existence of this fish suggested that the deep ocean might be more dynamic, more interconnected than previously believed. Perhaps there are unseen food webs operating in the darkness, driven by migrations of animals we have never observed. Perhaps chemical energy from hydrothermal vents or decomposing organic matter fuels. Ecosystems that science has only begun to imagine. When the expedition ended and the data was brought back to the surface, analysis began immediately. High-resolution footage was examined frame by frame. Measurements were estimated using laser scaling. Every visible feature was compared to known species. The result was unsettling in its clarity. This fish did not match any existing genus or family. Genetic material would be needed to confirm its place on the tree of life. But collecting samples from such depths is difficult and risky. A single mistake could destroy delicate tissues or contaminate DNA. For now, scientists had only images, behavior, and environmental data. Yet even these were enough to challenge long-held assumptions about how vertebrate life can function under extreme conditions. Pressure at 4,000 meters is more than 400 times that at the surface. Proteins deform. Cell membranes become rigid. Enzymes that work perfectly in shallow water fail completely. Deep-sea fish survive by evolving specialized molecules that remain flexible and functional under pressure. The newly discovered fish appeared to take these adaptations further than anything seen before. Its movements suggested muscle fibers optimized for both strength and efficiency. A rare combination in such an environment, its blood chemistry, inferred indirectly from coloration and behavior, may rely on unique oxygen-binding proteins capable of extracting the smallest traces of oxygen from cold, deep water. Its nervous system, too, must operate under conditions that would shut down human neurons almost instantly. Every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction, happens in a world fundamentally hostile to complex life, and yet here it was. Not surviving by the bare minimum, but thriving enough to hunt Dot as word of the discovery spread quietly through scientific circles, excitement mixed with caution. Announcing a new species requires extraordinary evidence, and the deep ocean has a long history of false alarms. Shadows mistaken for monsters, artifacts mistaken for animals. But this time, the evidence was solid, repeatable, and supported by multiple sensors. More importantly, it raised a deeper question. If a fish like this exists, unseen until now, how many others are out there? How many evolutionary experiments has the deep ocean been running in isolation for millions of years? Every new discovery hints that life's ability to adapt is far greater than we assume, and that our planet still holds secrets capable of rewriting biology textbooks. This fish is not just a curiosity. It is a message from a hidden world, a reminder that the most extreme environments on Earth are not barren wastelands, but frontiers of innovation. In the darkness, under crushing pressure, evolution continues its slow, relentless work, shaping creatures that challenge our definitions of what life can be, and this is only the beginning. The deeper scientists look, the more this new fish seems to represent not an exception, but a pattern waiting to be uncovered. The discovery began to reshape how scientists thought about life in the deepest parts of the ocean. What stood out was not just the fish's unusual form, but the confidence with which it moved through an environment that most animals would find impossible to navigate. There was no hesitation in its motion, no sign of disorientation. Every adjustment of its fins appeared calculated, as if the surrounding darkness carried information invisible to human perception. Closer analysis suggested that this fish experiences the deep ocean as a layered sensory landscape rather than an empty void. Pressure waves, minute electrical signals, and faint chemical trails likely form a continuous stream of data. In such a world, light becomes unnecessary. The fish does not need to see its surroundings. It feels them, reads them, and predicts them. This ability would dramatically alter how it hunts. Instead of actively searching for prey, it can wait in stillness, monitoring subtle changes in the environment. A distant movement, a stress signal released by a small organism, or a disturbance in sediment might be enough to trigger action. When the moment arrives, the fish responds instantly, conserving energy for long periods and spending it only when success is almost guaranteed. Its body supports this strategy perfectly. Muscle fibers appear compact and powerful, capable of delivering sudden force without prolonged exertion. The skeletal structure seems designed to distribute stress evenly, preventing damage during rapid movement under extreme pressure. Nothing about the fish suggests waste or excess. It is a product of refinement, not improvisation. Scientists also began to consider the fish's role in the wider ecosystem. At such depths, every predator influences the balance of life around it. By controlling populations of smaller animals, the fish may indirectly shape how nutrients cycle through the deep sea. Its presence hints at a food web more active and interconnected than previously assumed. This realization challenges older models that describe the deep ocean as slow, sparse, and largely passive. Instead, it may be a system defined by brief moments of intensity, separated by long periods of calm. A predator capable of operating within that rhythm would not just survive, but thrive. The question of how such a species evolved remains open. One possibility is that its ancestors gradually descended from shallower waters, adapting over countless generations to increasing pressure and darkness. Another is that it belongs to an ancient lineage that has always existed in the deep, evolving in isolation while the surface world changed dramatically above. Both possibilities carry profound implications. If the fish descended from shallower ancestors, it demonstrates how flexible vertebrate life can be when given enough time. If it represents an ancient deep-sea lineage, it suggests that entire branches of the evolutionary tree remain largely unexplored. Reproduction adds another layer of mystery. In environments where encounters are rare, many deep-sea animals rely on slow growth and long lifespans. If this fish follows that pattern, each individual may carry decades of evolutionary investment. Such species are exceptionally vulnerable to disturbance, especially from human activities expanding into deeper waters. As interest in deep-sea mining and exploration grows. Discoveries like this force uncomfortable questions. How many species exist without names, without protection, and without any awareness of the changes approaching their world. The fish becomes more than a scientific finding. It becomes a symbol of responsibility. Future research will likely focus on observation rather than capture. Long-term monitoring, environmental DNA sampling, and silent autonomous vehicles offer ways to learn without disrupting fragile systems. Each new piece of data will help place this fish within the broader story of deep ocean life. What remains certain is that the deep ocean has once again proven itself far from empty. Beneath the weight of kilometers of water, evolution continues its work with patience and precision. This fish, shaped by darkness and pressure, is living evidence that life does not merely endure extreme conditions. It adapts to them, masters them, and in doing so, expands the boundaries of what we believe is possible on Earth.